The rebirth of the flame-bearer. Centuries have passed. Worlds fell, others were born. Gods fell silent, new ones arose. But Bendida did not forget. And the prophecy spoke of a soul that would carry memory without a name, love without a source, a flame without explanation. And so, in a distant future eon, amidst the silent ruins of forgotten civilizations, and under the eternal, silver gaze of two moons, a man was born. He was not a king, nor a warrior, nor a prophet whose name would be remembered by the ages. He wore no crown, carried no sword, nor holy scriptures. He was simply Aruna, a name whispered by the wind amidst the dust of millennia, almost forgotten upon its very birth. Ordinary, or at least that was how he appeared in the eyes of others, who saw only a fragile boy with a gaze fixed on the distance. But from earliest childhood, he carried within him a quiet, inexplicable sadness that was not his own. It was a legacy from the stars, an echo of a life he did not remember, but whose absence he felt like a phantom pain in his soul. This sadness drove him to seek solitude, to listen to the silence between the sounds of the vast city. He also carried a tenderness without an address, a longing for something lost that he could not even name. It was like a melody without words, playing only in his heart. Sometimes, in the deepest hours of the night, when the world fell asleep under the double lunar caress, a woman bathed in light would come into his dreams. Her face was indistinct, as if woven from memory and stardust, but her presence filled his soul with peace, with the feeling of returning home. She never spoke, but he understood everything. He did not know her name, nor where she came from. He did not remember her voice, but he knew the song of her soul, because it was his own, and yet he felt her so close, so much his own, as if he had loved her beyond time, beyond all reincarnations, with a love that did not need memory to exist. This love, this quiet whisper in his blood, was the first stormy spark, the first sign that his path would not be ordinary, but a journey toward the light that called to him from the depths of eternity. This was a promise made before worlds, which his soul had yet to remember. When he grew up, the man continued to carry the emptiness within him. He had learned to hide it skillfully, to dress it in smiles and drown it out with the noise of daily life. He walked among the thousands of hurried faces of the big city, but felt invisible, as if he were moving in his own world, parallel to theirs. The city pulsed with life, but his own rhythm was slowed, almost stopped. Every day was a battle against the feeling of invisibility, against the silence in his soul that was screaming. He was looking for something without knowing what it was. He just felt its absence like a quiet, constant hunger, like a phantom pain in his chest. Sometimes in the quiet hours of the night, he wondered if somewhere out there, in the infinite, there existed another soul who was also searching. And then, on a completely ordinary day, when the sky was gray and hope almost lost, the man met another soul. He met her supposedly by chance, in one of those moments that portend nothing, but change everything. A moment in which the universe catches its breath. But what is chance? Just a word with which the world calls those perfect moments that the gods have been arranging for centuries, weaving the threads of fate. This was not just a meeting, but a crossing of two paths predetermined long ago. For them, it was not chance but a path that two souls had taken toward each other before they were even born into this world, guided by an invisible thread, stronger than time. She looked at him for only a moment, but in that look, an entire eternity was contained. It was not just a look, but a recognition. In her eyes, he saw not a reflection, but an answer. And in his heart, where it had been most empty, cold, and forgotten, something cracked. Not with the sound of breaking, but with the quiet whisper of a budding flower, awakened by the first ray of spring. Through the newly appeared crack, unearthly light passed, warm, golden, and familiar. It did not burn, it healed. It spilled through his veins, warmed his bones, and filled every cell with the feeling of returning home. The emptiness that had tormented him for so long did not just fill up, it turned into a fountain of light. He did not know her. He had never seen her in this life. But his soul, it did. His soul remembered. It remembered promises made thousands of lives ago under the light of alien suns. It remembered an ancient melody that only the two of them knew, a song without words, woven from longing and eternity. A melody that now sounded deafening in the silence between them. In that short, stopped heartbeat, two ancient halves recognized each other in the crowd. Everything else disappeared. The noise of the city, the hurried people, the grayness of the day. Time bent around them, creating a sacred bubble of silence. Only the two of them remained, wrapped in light that did not come from outside, but radiated from themselves. This was more than a meeting. It was a gathering. It was an echo from the first day of creation that had finally found its answer. One half of the moon had discovered the other. The first sign was the moon. This was the second. The path to the healer was discovered. A night of eclipse came. The moon vanished in the day, as was foretold. Then the man trembled, not from fear, but from a liberation that had not yet happened. And from his lips, without knowing why, came a word he had never learned. A word from the silence that unlocks. Return, deep beneath the roots of the worlds, where time does not flow but settles like dust, in the darkest dark of the shadow realm. A word echoed. Return. It was not a cry, but a whisper, woven from the threads of infinite longing and unshakable faith. This whisper crossed abysses of emptiness to reach a single heart, locked in a crystal thought to be indestructible. And by the power of this call, Saren's prison began to crack. At first, barely noticeably, like a spiderweb of light crawling along its dark, smooth surface. And then, with a sharp, glassy sound that split the eternal silence, the first piece broke off and fell into the abyss. The shadow creatures, the guardians of his prison, shrieked. Their wail was not a sound, but a wave of pure, primal terror that spilled across dimensions.